Hey friends, it's Jennifer. I hope you guys are doing well. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how you can take packaging that you may have, in my case it's a cereal box, and make some art from it. Last year I did the Altered Playing Card Challenge, and I took watercolor paper that I had. I didn't have playing cards, so I just took watercolor paper, cut it into the appropriate size, and made cards from it. And this year I've decided to just use the packaging that I have. I'm going to start with this cereal box and deconstruct it and cut it into the appropriate sizes to see how many cards I can get out of it for this year. I'm measuring this card. They are 2.5 by 3.5. That is a standard playing card size. And so I'm just cutting the edges off of the cereal box here, and then I'm going to go back and measure and cut the box down to the 2.5 by 3.5 card size. I'm going to pull out my mat here because I'm actually going to use my box cutter and I don't want to cut my surface, so I'm actually going to use my mat here with my ruler and a box cutter. I want to remind you to always be careful when you're using a box cutter because they can be sharp. I have cut my finger before, not meaning to, of course. So just be extra careful whenever you're doing that. And so that's what you're going to see me do here. And so you can see here that I got quite a few out of this one cereal box. And so I wanted to see if I could just use things that I had, which was paint. And since this is the month of January, I picked out 5 cards for this month. And I live in the South, and so it's kind of cold here. I live in North Carolina, Western North Carolina, so it's cold this time of the year. So I decided to go with 2 different blue colors, a dark blue and a light blue. And the reason I went with the dark blue is because you can see on the card that it's already got a print on it. So I wanted to see if you could just use just paint, and cover it up, maybe a couple of layers of paint, just to see if you could get it covered up enough where you wouldn't actually have to, gesso it if you didn't have gesso. But I wanted to use the dark blue paint just to kind of see and go for the month of January, more like a blue theme. So you just see me putting on a coat of paint here, which the dark blue covers it up pretty good, I think, for it to be a cereal box with the darker colors on it. I think that the blue paint covers it up actually pretty good. So once I let that dry, I flip the cards over and I'm going to paint the back side. Now, even though that they're blank, you'll see later on in the video that I changed my mind here, but I wanted to paint them as well because I thought maybe I would write on them, but then later on you'll see I changed my mind there because the blue was just too dark for, I mean, I guess you could write on it with a white pen, but anyway, I changed my mind later on, but I wanted to paint the backs of the cards just to see, um, just to have some color on the back. So those are the backs of the cards, which turned out really good. That was just one coat of paint for them. And then I let those dry and I flipped the cards back over to the front because you can still see through them. So I'm going to do another coat of blue paint just to see if that will cover it up. So now I'm just going to take some glue. I've put 2 coats of paint on one of the cards, but now I'm going to take some tacky glue and put down because I know that I'm going to cover up some of the cards with different elements. So I'm just going to take some of this tacky glue. I'm just going to put it down on the card, and I'm just going to take a piece of white copy paper and put down on top of that okay, and here I'm going to take some gesso and I'm going to put it on another card because again, I know I'm going to use some different elements there. And so I'm just painting one on there, and of course I had some extra. I put too much on there, so I painted it on the other card. And now I'm just going to take some tissue paper and I'm going to adhere it to this card. And now I'm going to take a napkin and I've peeled the back layer off. This is the top layer of the napkin, and so I've just put it on this particular card. And then I've just taken the leftover gesso on the last card, and I used the second layer of a napkin from the blue and white, and I just placed it down on top of the last one. And then this last card, this is the card that I had already painted 2 layers of blue paint on, and then I did a third, and now I'm just drying it on here, and paint will cover, in my case, paint covered up the card that you could, the cereal box that you could see underneath. So that's the copy paper. This is the layer from the napkin, the white layer. This is the actual top layer of the napkin. This is tissue paper. And then, of course, the just blue paint on there. A January theme for these particular cards. I'm just going to put this tissue paper on top of the white copy paper, and I'm just going to use some gesso to apply that and then put the tissue paper on top of that. And so now I'm just going to take the lighter color blue and paint over top of this and just sort of blend it through. You can still see the dark color with that. And I just used the gesso that I had to make it sort of lighter looking too. And now I'm just going to trim off all of the excess on all of these cards. I'm going to take my crocodile corner puncher and I'm going to punch all of the corners of each card. And so here's where I decided that I'm going to paint the backs white, just in case I ever decided that I wanted to write on them or put something else on there. And so I just went ahead and painted the backs of them white with gesso. And here are all of the cards for the month of January. I'll be using these each week to make a different card out of. Thank you guys for watching.